beautiful souls. I feel like I haven't been here for weeks. I mean, there was a bit of a mix up in the last podcast because it took a couple of weeks to come out. And so I haven't actually been able to have one-on-one time with all you beautiful humans for a few weeks now. Crazy. And there's so much that I want to share with you. Like, honestly, so much. It's wild. I was sitting here before trying to think like, where do I want to start? But today I want to start with why consistency creates magic. Now, a lot of you will be like, oh, we know like long-term consistency, all the things. But here's what I want to tell you. And here's what came on just before I got on this podcast. I saw a beautiful reel of Mel Robbins, and you all know who she is because she's incredible, and how her podcast has, in Apple Podcasts, just came out today, that her podcast has literally been the most shared, and she was like crying and had this huge mission, right? And she's been doing this for a long time. Maybe, I don't know how long she's been doing the podcast, but she has been putting herself out there consistently for a long period of time. And her mission, much like mine, which is why it actually made me cry, was that she genuinely wants to help women. Oh, sorry, for me, it's women. For her, it's humanity and everyone. And to literally feel like they can take little steps each day. Wow, the energy is moving. Little steps each day to literally get where they want to go no matter what their circumstances, which I think is just so divine. And she puts it so differently. So go watch her reel. It's really beautiful, her mission. And I cried because part of my soul was like, that gets to be me, right? The consistency, the showing up creates the magic, and it can take time and you never really know how or when it will happen. And that's the beauty of life, right? Because can you imagine if you literally rolled into the gym and one day and all of a sudden your body was perfect, what would you do with your life? How bored would you be? Like, and I know consistency is not a flattering, sexy word, but it really is the magic, right? Like even through my own growth, I've seen my following grow, my viral videos when I put up army things because of how much people really hate it, which is actually quite funny to watch. It's men that hate it, not women. So I love that for me. And yeah, I just find it super interesting that you never really know what's going to go viral until you have trolls. So if you want some trolls, I'll give you mine. They're very active, but it's like I've been a meme probably multiple times, guys. Like, honestly, I think if you went on any defense page, any meme defense page, I would probably be plastered all over it. And thank you also to all those people that have put me out there, because then I get followers back from it. It's fucking epic, right? They don't realize that they put my reach out even further and actually bring me in beautiful clients and beautiful women to follow me. So, and men as well, actually, which is lovely, right? Who are super invested in my work or interested in just what I do, which is beautiful. So I thank you. That was a very off-topic comment, but actually not really, because in the time that I've spoken to you, consistency, if we talk about that, I'll tell you a story of why this is important. Recently, I got asked to go and speak at my old high school. Well, it's actually a K-12 school, but I went there for high school. And they wanted me to come and speak on Remembrance Day, right? So I've been in the army, 13 and a half years, full-time, out for a couple of months, as you know, part-time. And so it was really beautiful that all of that time, right, like consistently showing up in my workplace, in my job, 15 years later or whatever, 14 years later, I have been asked to go and speak at my school and to impart knowledge and talk about Remembrance Day, but talk about my experience and what it means to me. And I loved it because I weaved in how they can lead and how they can show up and serve in their lives. Because let's be honest, from kindergarten to year 12, it's a pretty big gap to talk to about Remembrance Day. And a lot of them will not have the knowledge of what it truly means. So I got to impart that knowledge and also help them show up in their own lives. And it was so beautiful because I had teachers there, and one of them cried, my old English teacher, because she knew that like back in the day, right? Picture this, and I've told this story before, but You need to hear it again. I used to be that kid that would hide under the desk, that would run away. Every time we had a speech, I would find some way to get out of it. Although obviously I couldn't, but I would try. And I would ask to just do it in front of her, and I would try not to do it in front of the class. But I consistently showed up, right? To the point where, I took myself to Toastmasters and my mum was like, you don't have to go. And I was like, I have to go because I put myself in a leadership program because someone was like, you should go for school captain. So I had to speak. So I had to consistently show up, right? To the point where then I ended up with a job where I spoke in front of people, literally leading 120 to 150 people in PT sessions, right? And then I get to speak in front of my school after all the consistency of speaking on this podcast, of speaking on stages. And now I get a stage of 1,000 children to impart my knowledge and to actually be a leader and show them what leadership truly is and to imprint them in their journey, right? And it was the most beautiful moment of my life. It was such an honor that only came through consistently showing up, because the teacher that I knew that messaged me about this, not only he wasn't my teacher during the time, but obviously I knew him. My mum used to work at the school and I knew lots of the teachers. And also we just knew all the teachers. I feel like that was a thing back in those days. And so that was really lovely. He reached out because I popped up on his social media through my business when I got back to Newcastle. So the consistency and the ripple effect, see, that's the magic, right? So if I didn't consistently show up and put myself out there and grow a business and consistently show up as a leader every day in my army career and grow to become a sergeant and to lead others consistently all the time, and then also grow a business where I lead my own life in such a fulfilling, incredible way where I'm always looking for growth and always looking for expansion, that beautiful, magical experience wouldn't have come into my existence. And this is the thing. When you go and stay in your lane, right? Because this is the funny part, right? Every time I put up a reel of me in uniform, I become a meme, right? So a lot of people, when it first happened to me, it was devastating and I wanted to hide in a hole. I'm not going to lie to you. I literally was actually so, like, it was a lot. And I was like, holy crap, my nervous system can't hold this, right? I was like freaking out, calling my coach, calling my friends, like crying. It was a really big, scary moment. And then this time and the other times, because I've done it before on purpose after that, I posted the same reel, but I actually strategically put it out there and it went absolutely nuts. So I became a meme again all over the shop, and it put me out to so many beautiful people, and so many people still probably don't like me to this day. But a lot of people, was really interesting because non-defense people looked at it and was like, oh, that's a really cool reel. That's really, like, we love that, because they had they don't think about it in a military context. And you can't smile in uniform. Goodness gracious, you can't put yourself out there in uniform because that would be too much. And so it's interesting when you realize that that's the bubble, right? And that's not everyone in the military. Like, there's a lot of people in the military who don't give two fucks about what's on my social media, right? But there's a lot of other people, and this is the part I really want you to hear, because it's never the people that are doing things that are in their own lane, consistently creating their own magic, that are the ones that are going to pull you down. It's the other people that are doing nothing, or literally they have fun trolling social media and pulling other people down because they have nothing else to do in their lives. And this is the thing, right? Happy for you if that's the way you want to live your life. Say that. You know what I mean? Like, let them live that way. Let them put the comments on there. Let them make themselves look like an idiot, right? That's their own prerogative, and they can do whatever they want. They can say what they want. They can go nuts. You've got right of speech. Go nuts, right? And you don't need to take it to heart because it's not people you care about. It's also not people that are ever going to help you build or actually get you to the next level. The whole point of that is they're pulling you down because unfortunately they're not in a place where they feel great about themselves. So it actually makes them feel better to pull other people down. And if you don't want to be that kind of a person, one, don't pull other people down on social media. And two, go out and stay in your own lane and create the magic, right? Because like I said, that doesn't just pull in people that, you know, don't like me. A lot of the time it pulls in lots of followers, right? Which is great. It puts me out into the algorithm and it actually allows me to receive the people who actually are ready for my message. And this is the piece. Going viral is not about going viral, like go viral, don't go viral, whatever. But it's about the consistency of showing up, right? I show up consistently in my business no matter what happens with a post, no matter if I get 2 views or 20,000 views, right? It doesn't matter. I'm still me. And the people who are ready for my magic and who are ready for what I am here to do in my purpose will receive it. That speech was epic. And no one can take that away from me because that was such a special moment to be able to mold the next generation, right? Not many people in their lives will ever get that chance, especially after a career where I have, put my heart and soul into. And I get to actually honor that even for myself, because a lot of the time in army, and I think this is an Aussie thing too, we don't really talk about our wins. We don't really acknowledge them. We have this like tall poppy syndrome, right? Can't do that. You've just got to keep it real chill. But what happens is, and I've been reading, I have so many things I want to share with you. It's actually wild. This could be crazy. But I've been reading Brene Brown's book, Letting Go. Anyway, it's called something else, but I'll go and look up Brene Brown. She's amazing. Anyway, it is about letting go. And it's about the fact that a lot of us aren't very open and vulnerable about, like, for me, I'm going to make $1 million by December 2026, right? In my business, right? And me saying that, a lot of people might be like, oh my gosh, what happens if it doesn't happen? Right? Okay. Not a possibility, but I'll indulge you. So this is the piece, is that one, you have to believe in yourself no matter what, with all these haters, all these people that are telling you that's not going to be true, right? But the vulnerability part is me sharing that. And I love how she uses that as an example. A lot of us don't say we want something, or when someone goes, oh, are you excited about that interview? Or are you excited about this? And I've done this plenty of times. They go, oh, yeah, or no, not really. Because we play it down because we're like, if we admit how excited we are and then it goes bad or it doesn't happen or whatever, all of a sudden, all of that feeling of disappointment and, sadness, right? Because it didn't work out or, all of these pieces, we carry that load by ourselves because we're not vulnerable enough to actually open up and have courage and be brave to tell people what we actually are going after in life. Because if it doesn't happen, we're worried about the judgment. Do you know what actually happens when you're vulnerable? The people around you and the good people, I'm not telling you all those other people out there that are saying horrible things. Let's not have them in our circle, which they shouldn't be. Get them out if they are. The thing is those people that know how much it meant to you will reach out and actually get to be like, oh, I'm so sorry that didn't happen for you. And you actually get to confide with someone and you're not sitting in your own ship by yourself. We are wired for belonging. We are wired for community. We are wired to literally want to be in connection. And if we don't have the courage to honor how we're feeling and be honest about it, then we can't actually allow people to connect with us fully, right? And so this is something I'm learning as well about not pulling myself down when things are coming up and not avoiding talking about them. And I'm just reading this book at the moment, so it's kind of interesting. But I wanted to bring that into your awareness because if you're excited about something, be excited about it. Like, be excited about it. Don't play it down. If you're scared or nervous, like, be scared and nervous, right? And then tap into the fact that you're going to kill it and be amazing, right? And because you are, let's be real. You've built the consistency to get there, right? Same with the gym. We go every day, let's say, or every 5 days a week, or whatever your plan is for the gym, right? It's got to work for you. Or it's a dance class, or it's et cetera, whatever your fitness regime is. So if we're consistently going and we consistently show up we see the magic in the progress of our body changing, of our mindset shifts, of our endurance, of our maybe flexibility. If you're doing, those sorts of classes, maybe you see it in just your mood and how you show up differently for the world and how you wake up each day feeling better or more, you have more energy, all of these things, right? But that's built through consistency because as soon as you stop, you go backwards, don't you? And so it's like consistency builds the magic. And that is what is going to get you there, right? And as you show up more for yourself, you trust yourself, right? When you say you're going to do something, you do it. You then reinforce the fact that you trust your intuition, you trust you, you are the leader of your own life, right? And the one thing I want to talk about this too is I also listen to another podcast. I've been very obsessed with, if you can't tell, consuming at the moment. I'm like this vessel that because I'm in my CEO, Empress, $1 million era, that is the woman who does that, right? She consumes information from people who've done it, who are where she wants to be, all of these things, right? So I've been consuming another podcast, which I actually sent out to so many other women. It's about 4 beautiful experts, and I just like incredible experts in America around women's health. And it's on the diary of a CEO. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you, Stacey Sims, Dr. Stacey Sims, and there's a couple of others. I follow Dr. Stacey Sims because she's an exercise physiologist. And I'm super interested in the fact that they're doing more research on women. And why I want to talk about this too is this research has been happening forever, right? Like it hasn't, but now it will be, as in when the consistency of the research started to get in, they're now coming in and having the conversation about hormones, about, training for women, about the fact that women don't have periods. And that's not a good thing, ladies. If you don't have a period, go get that sorted out. So it's like, and how that's actually really has effects on, childbirth and all these other things, right? Your hormones, your premenopause, menopause, all of this, right? Postmenopausal, all the things. And so it's an incredible podcast and everyone should listen to it. I know I'm meant to be promoting myself here, but they talk about these incredible things, right? They talk about all of the things that we're not talking about as women. And it's really important to understand science is a really big factor here, but every woman is different. And I love how they talk about trackables, how, especially and they're talking about, Stacey Sims talks about athletes. It's very different. But they take away their tracking stuff around competition time because a lot of people, and this is a really big thing, when your mind gets set that is literally, if it tells you you're tired, right? If it tells you you didn't get enough sleep, you didn't get enough sleep. You will believe it and you won't take your own body's intuition into account. And this is a way that we've become disconnected. We believe in trackables, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wearing a watch and tracking what's going on with you. I'm just saying be very cautious that it doesn't completely run your life. Because you actually might feel okay, and you actually might be okay, and your body might be telling you something totally different, but because you believed what was on your watch, you're not actually honoring what your body truly needs. And this is a really interesting topic, and it's really interesting that they're talking into the science and how it's affecting our sleep and how it's affecting everything as well. And how, what makes me laugh is they came back to the same 5 things, right? That are what we should be doing. When I say should, it's literally the easiest things in the world. And the things I've been talking about it forever, like a lot of people want restriction. A lot of people, when they, they want to lose weight, they want to eat less calories. Yes, less calories is going to make you lose weight, right? I'm not here to debate that. But my question is it long-term sustainable? And is that actually going to help you? It's actually better to make small incremental changes. And they talk about this, and I've talked about this for years, than actually massive things, right? A lot of us go back, it always makes me laugh. We go back to the gym, we do everything we did years ago. Let's say we had a bit of time off. And then our body's like, hold on a minute. We're not even where we were years ago. Why are we doing the same training? Why are we doing the same thing? Why are we showing up when we didn't show up last week at all, and now we're showing up 5 times and we're in so much pain that we can't function? and then eventually we don't go back, right? Or we do it for a period of time and then we don't sustainably keep it going. To me, fitness is about sustainability and it's about longevity. And why I think of it like that is because my grandma is 96 and she was a doctor and she literally moves every day. She gardens, she walks, she reads books, she goes out in nature, sits in her garden, sometimes, hangs out there, falls asleep in the sun. She, yeah. And these are the things they're talking about, right? Movement, more movement in your life. Literally, it doesn't matter what it looks like. You can do anything you want when it comes to movement, right? The one thing they do talk about though, and I find this is very, very important for older as we get older, and this is I think because I'm obviously coming into this age gap of 35 to 45, and strength training is a really big thing because our bone health and our muscles to hold around that needs to be strong as we move forward because we lose estrogen and progesterone and there's like different hormones that change for us as we get older and we have less of it. So we need to be able to build and hold the ability to be strong so that we don't end up with, they talk about Alzheimer's, they talk about breaking like hip fractures. It's a really big thing for women. So because we live longer, it's about how do we live longer and actually live better because we have higher percentages of those diseases and different things because we don't look after ourselves as well. And men have a totally different thing. They die a little bit younger and they have their own medical things, right? But what they talk about is the big factors are strength. And so it's getting in the gym and building strength 3 times a week, they say. And then you can do your cardio, whatever you want around it. And this also helps with our bones. And so you can actually make your bones stronger. I didn't really know this as you got older. I thought it was only a kid thing. But apparently strength and obviously this muscle around it then is strong to hold us up, right? And then we're not going to fall over. So less likely to have falls, all of these things. And so they're talking about getting as strong as you can physically in that time. And also they're talking about jump training for the fact of landing and being with that activating of they talk about this so much better. So please go listen to that podcast. But they talk about the strength of the bones. So the jump training, the strength, doing the strength training will actually grow your bones to be stronger. So as you age, you actually are able to age in a great way that you can still function, right? That's the gist of it. And so we're looking at strength training. We're looking at how we can do jump training, how we can, and that doesn't have to be a lot of it. It just can be a little bit to do with your strength training, how we can create more mobility. And then also we're looking at the parts of sleep, right? The most important thing in the world. What is your sleep hygiene? What do you do before you go to sleep? The other night I changed my sheets because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not sleeping well. What's my sleep hygiene? What's going on? I'm going to change my sheets. So I've got fresh sheets. I slept way better that night. I haven't done this recently, but I used to put my phone in the bathroom and I haven't quite worked that out at this house, but that's something I'm thought into as well. And then there's times of trying to go to sleep around the same time. So I'm trying to make sure I go to sleep, wake up same time so that my body is used to the rhythm, right? And so there's lots of different things you can do around sleep. There's lots of different things that if you keep them consistent, then you're actually going to allow yourself to be healthier without having to go and do these grand 8-week fitness plans or whatever, right? They can be additions. And this is why I love the Holistic Woman. Like I'm obsessed with my program, right? Because I look at all parts of your health and I help you make small changes that suit you. So it's about you, right? Because everything is about you when it comes to health. It's not about me giving you a protocol that, may work or may not work. It's about us sitting down and working out what is going to be the best move that's going to hold you sustainably for your health. And I just love that they actually solidified that. And they literally just like could have boosted my program in there. But because it's not about making radical shifts. Yeah, you can do that, but how long can you sustain it? And I had this conversation a few times with women recently is like, there's all these diets out there, right? Great, cool. But again, you do it for 8 weeks, right? It might make some great changes. You can talk about juice cleanses, all things. I've done all this, right? Like guilty as. And you might lose the weight, you might do the thing, it might hold for a few months maybe, and then it'll sort of all come back again, it'll unravel because it's not a sustainable thing that you're maintaining. And so for me, it's about the fact that it's an 80-20 rule when it comes to nutrition, right? So 80% you're being really good, you're doing the right things. 20% you're going having fun, you're living life, right? And this is important because nutrition's another really big one. Are you getting enough protein as a woman? That's a really big one. And then that's normally what I help my clients look at because I'm like, cool, let's start with the protein. Let's start with the simple thing. And that can just be adding a protein bar. That can be adding a protein shake. That can be adding a little bit more meat to your meal. If that's what you eat, I've had clients that have added more tofu or like we just look at that sort of thing. And when they do that, the changes are like that. And it's really beautiful because then we're not tracking and we're not obsessed about calories and we're not looking at everything and being restrictive. We're actually living a sustainable life. And like I was talking about my grandma, we still have wine before dinner, cheese, dessert, but it's not in excess and it's like, it's enough to be like, oh, that was delicious. I've had my fill of the sweet thing that I want or the 20%. And I actually am not craving the other stuff, right? And so we're looking at nutrition, sleep, movement, right? Even if you just move more in your life, that's a start. And then you can start to implement more things, right? And then we're looking just at maybe if you have, we're looking at hormones, like what's going on there. Do you have a period? Is it consistent? Do you track your period? Because that's a really big thing. Do you actually look at, is your cycle regular? And this is something that I've been doing a lot of, is tracking, is my cycle regular? And my cycle is, I'm really lucky. And so that's interesting, right? Because we look at how is that supporting your health hormonally if you're looking at having children. These are important. If you're on a birth control pill, what are you on it for? How is that affecting your hormones? Do you actually know what a period for you looks like? Because I, for a while, didn't. And do you understand what that pill is doing for you? That's still a choice, right? Like we still get to use them. There's nothing, there are, depending on who you talk to. It depends what you use it for, depending on if you would use that. And I did for a long time, but I also allowed myself to have a period. A lot of people are using it and actually skipping every period, which then is not good for their hormones, right? And not good to allow your body to still do what it's meant to do. They talk about egg reproduction. I didn't even know that you lose more eggs before you're born as a woman than you do in your life of reproduction or just in your life in general. So anyway, there's just so many pieces, right, that we get to look into, but they're all coming back to the simple basics is what I'm saying, to consistency and sustainability in the basic, simple things, right? Making small changes that make a big impact over time. And this was something as well that I had to come back into too, because, leaving the military, coming out of such a unsafe, uncertain, unknown time, because leaving, there's no certainty in anything, right? But when you're used to that your whole life and control, and you're used to controlling everything, right? You control all of these pieces of your life. You have money that comes in every 2 weeks. You have all these things, right? You're consistent, but just because you're doing it for a job and you have to be. And it's interesting when you're in an unknown or uncertain environment, how you can allow yourself to surrender and trust, but also how you can keep consistency in the things that are going to sustain you long term. And I see a lot of this also with business owners is like they are like, I'm at burnout, or they're not as aligned with their vision as they originally were. And I get that. You evolve over time as well. But that is coming from this masculine space of I need to do. And then what happens when you don't allow and flow with life? Now, if I hadn't have gotten out of the military and honored my nervous system, because this is the big thing, my nervous system was so jacked when I left, and I have been honoring it over the time and building safety back in my nervous system in the unknown, which is a really, really big deal because the unknown is scary. The uncertainty, super weird. And the beauty of trust. And I am grateful that for me, God, spirit, universe, all of that, right? I mean, last night even sent me all these beautiful messages at the right time when I needed to hear it to create the new things I'm planning to in my business. And it's so effortless. And literally, I'm guided 100% of the time. And I'm grateful for energy healing. I'm grateful for how that's opened up my world, how, channeling and being with that has not only helped myself, but other women, and also honored my business in all its stages. But the pinnacle of it is my body and my health, right? And so the nervous system work that I do and I do with my clients actually allows us to release and be with what is safety in our nervous system. Can I be in my body? I choose things now where I go and I ground in the grass. And I went on live for TikTok the other day and was with them live while I was sitting in the grass and grounding. And I choose things that are actually really good for me. And when I'm dysregulated, I can re-regulate myself, right? I don't go into turmoil and spiraling and all these pieces. And I've seen how different that is in the last few weeks, especially because it really changes how you are in the world and your magnetic energy and what you're actually attracting. And I've been attracting all these beautiful opportunities and all these beautiful people and new clients. And it's just the most beautiful thing in the world. But this has come from consistency. And the magic comes from consistency. And you don't need to know how or when all of these things are going to show up, right? Because we don't know. And that's the beauty of life is we get to be in this beautiful space where we get to keep showing up however we feel called. And for ourselves, for our health, for all of these things. And then the magic comes. And you can see that in the world of everyone right now, how the magic is happening and everything is flowing and all the abundance is coming in. And I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for where I am. And I'm grateful for all that I have journeyed to get here because that helped me understand even the moments of doubt, even the moments of, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to get through this? How am I going to show up? Right? All of those things teach me all these different ways to look after me, to come back to me, to look after my nervous system, which I'm so excited to help other women explore and help you because you are the reason I'm here. I show up every day so I can support you in this beautiful way, like to be able to share this journey with you, to be able to share the incredible guests that I have about, life, and also to show you that consistency literally brings magic. Like the fact that I got to speak for my school, the fact that I've had so many beautiful people come into my space and I just get to be the shining light that keeps showing you that you can do this too, right? I had a multi-millionaire on my podcast last week. Like not everyone gets that opportunity. And so it's amazing when we get to build and be with what is coming and what we're doing and showing up no matter what, right? And that doesn't mean when I'm having a crappy day, like I'm example of this. On Monday, I didn't want to do this, so I didn't do it. On Tuesday, I didn't want to do this. Now it's Wednesday. Now this is normally pretty late for me to do the podcast, but it felt right to wait because a lot of things had to drop in for this to come through to share with you. And that's important because it means I'm still showing up and I knew I was going to do it, but also there's no pressure if there's times in life when things don't happen. And I've missed an episode. When that one didn't work the other week, we missed a week. And that, you know what? That was perfect because everything lands exactly when it's meant to. And consistency is the key, because then I can come back in here and share with you. Because if I hadn't been consistent over the last 9 months, maybe longer, then this wouldn't be here and all of you wouldn't be listening. So I am so grateful. And I hope that in your life today, you can be consistent and see how your consistency has paid off into what's happening for you today. I love you. I hope you have a magical, magical day. Go and be unapologetically wild. And I'll see you next week.